Hello everyone, welcome back to SliverStar Arcade and more, the great Ace Attorney. In the last episode, after receiving a verdict of guilty from the judges, we did a summonation examination where we swayed them, rather easily I might say. But Lord Von Zeeks has not given up. And he has now called in some witnesses who will be going to... Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Oh, this is... Jeez, look at his helmet. Ain't these just a pair? Oh no. I know exactly what kind of pair they are. Constable Royal Bets, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir. And I'm Mrs. Brett. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. Mrs. B. Wait a minute. Hold on 1 second. Isn't that the... Beat. Where have we heard that name before? Oh, so she's married to the... Yeah, that's this guy's last name. So she's married. Proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. Okay. Is he chewing on his... Yes, he is. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. How old are these people? Oh, we have a lot of people now. Sent to Britain. RS. Garrett's wife, who poses as a household, merely kept appearance in the neighborhood. She's intends to be a member of the jury. Tired army man who's the landlord of the lodgings. Only injury means he's confined to a chair most of the time. Herlock is 34? Damn, that's a good looking 34-year-old. No person except... Like, this guy looks like a grizzled old man in comparison, but he's younger. Damn, Barrack, you need a better skincare routine. Olive green, the victim in this case... Wait. Luckily, the wound didn't prevail, but the woman remains unconscious. 23 and 21. Okay. Devoted London Bobby, who witnessed the incident whilst walking down the street with his wife of a year, Patricia. The wife of Constable Royal Bede, who is a witness to the incident. She's relatively recently married and fiercely proud of her policeman husband. And we've just lost all audio. One who she reminds me of? Jezebel from the Pokemon anime. Like, James' supposed to be bride. Or, yeah. How do you phrase that? I don't know. Anyways. No, it was your husband I was talking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beats is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? Sure, I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters are reading true. And they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat? That's right, sir. Isn't it, Royally? Constable Royally Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. Wait, what the fuck is this music? Sounds like this is the music that plays when a hiker wants to battle you in Pokemon. What a great witness he's gonna be. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. It was our wedding anniversary and Roy was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Royley and I both saw him clear as day. Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsumi at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summonation examination will be quashed. It's definitely, in fact, because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate bechancing, and on your wedding anniversary too. Oh, I know, but I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without a doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Alright, let's do this. Cross-examination. What the witnesses saw. Press. Hold it! No time to change after work, you say. Are you also a member of the police, Miss Barrett? Or sorry, Mrs. Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you could probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Roy looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down the ground. It suits you down the ground, doesn't it, darling? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Royley, I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes, I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, sir. Yes, although I'd fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What's that now? My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all of us policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London down and uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without grumble. because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Brett puts up with a lot being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. If it wasn't for the fact that she probably did it, or the fancy guy probably did it, this would be very cute. Oh, Pat. Oh, Royally. Alright, never mind. This is fucking adorable. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. Yeah, speaking of which, when are you going to get with Ryunosuke? I'm just saying, it has to happen. Like, I mean, Phoenix's bloodline had to come from somewhere. If a little over the top, perhaps. Ugh, it got cold in here all of a sudden. And then... Yeah, see, if this was our judge, he'd be fawning over this, you know, talking about how he had stuff in his old days. I miss the other judge. And then kindly describe what happened next. Dum da dum. Da 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 dum. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. Press that. Hold it! Hold it. Two silhouettes? That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man. That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume. Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that at the time there was nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling? Say it, bitch. What? Yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight and you can see a fairly long way down the pavement. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other pedestrians. Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said? Yes, sir. As a couple who spends all day, every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it, sir. As I'm sure, as my love for Patricia is sure. Oh, Pat. Oh, Royally. They're still maintained there was no one else other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like this must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run. Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly. Thank you. I believe we have a reasonable, clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. Oh, sorry. What happened in the crucial moments that followed? All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor and the other scattered before running off. Hold it! Hold it. Scattered something. What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? What? Yes, that's right. It was some old books. I see, old books. Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them, all around where the victim lay on the pavement. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print. That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed. Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker. But we saw him! It was the man in the dock without question, sir! The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything!
Any more insults you want to throw in? That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here.
May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, come on.
Wow. We ran straight over, of course, and went to help.
Yep, sure thing, Barbie.
Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling? Say it or it's your balls I cut off next time.
Like, that's the only thing I'm seeing when I see her pull on that scarf.
Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Brett to go. I was off duty by that point, but the Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obligated to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Brett. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance. What do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report it. I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh please, you're making us blush. Isn't that right, darling?
I want to stop making jokes every time she pulls on that scarf.
Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Let's move on, shall we? I'm actually really like this. Is probably my favorite trial or case so far. There's definitely that Japanese man in the dock.
Hold it!
Saw him both clear as day. But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of gas street lamps, would you?
Oh, God. We absolutely could. Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps were more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog? We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? What? Yes, it was the accused and no mistake. The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. There's Soseki-san they saw run away from the scene of the crime. So that's it? Is it? That's their entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on here in the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Brett saw what they saw. Mr. Natsumi ran away from the scene of Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no, then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama were here...
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony. What do you mean, somewhere else? Their statement about seeing Mr. Natsumi is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you can identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate. Oh, right. Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere. And if we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion. Why do I always seem to be so up against it? Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Oh, yes, of course. What is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right, is it? Well, out with it. Oh, the music! What? No. Oh, no, it's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail. Everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I can tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony was?
That will do, Mrs. Brett.
No, it won't do at all. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that royally will. I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down.
Perhaps you'd like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Brett. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
Just get the man a bed at some point, like... I can't even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped. I'm gonna press this, but I know that's wrong. Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question.
After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I am a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for royally.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling?
Interesting way of guarding the scene of the crime. Well, Mrs. Brett, seeing as you regaled the court with your tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was the pictures of Monsieur somebody or other, and What's It Yearnings. Then there was a meal for someone, and the last one was definitely the Thingamigami something. You see? Yes, I see there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory. Oh, well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure.
There were indeed books found at the scenes with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Speakers? Holy shit! He's packing!
That genuinely spooked me.
Anyone who upsets Matt Patricia will have to answer to. Will have me to answer to. What?
Terrifying.
Yes, she really is.
So that's it, is it? Their entire testimony? Yes, I know, Kazuma, yes. Yes, come on, let's hurry this up! Alright, what if I hit autoplay? Jesus, autoplay does not go fast. I thought it would be like those visual novels where when you accidentally hit it, it just skips everything until your next available choice. It was the
last statement we are going to present.
Objection!
Secondhand book receipt. So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right, I remember all of them.
The picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and The Thingamy Something.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Brett, but there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no, what flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop where the defendant bought his books.
Your books.
Yes, and it details Mr. Natsumi's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
Only 3? But no, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you, 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books.
But I just don't believe it. I saw them there, I swear it, I saw them.
Oh, you want who she reminds me of? No madam, I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon. She looks like the girl from, the squirrel girl from Willy Wonka. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no!
Oh, they're not very rich because they have patches all over their clothes, which means they mend their own clothes instead of buying new. What, you got a migraine, boy? What's wrong?
It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nepalese friend.
What?
What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused run from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. So you've striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies.
I mean, hey, it's what this bloodline does.
Would that be fair?
He sees right through me.
But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh?
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene of on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books.
Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say? Yes, I got an updated print this morning. Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand.
The Lion's Pride. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book.
Oh shit, that belongs to Mr. Giradib.
As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso.
No. No. Order. There, you see? Look at that. Look. Yes? It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Brett, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh, yes, of course. The pictures of Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lacroix.
I think that's how you pronounce that.
What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury yearnings.
A meal for someone.
A meal for Gabroya, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witnesses remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Brett's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Royley? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, flawless, Patricia is flawless. But there are only 3 books on the receipt. Mrs. Brett mentioned 4.
There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly the 4th book is that which is shown in the photographic print. I'm sorry, Counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt? It's not all odd at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim.
The victim was holding her own book? I wonder, what became of that 4th book?
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officer at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence. You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, Counsel. My pleasure, my lord.
Crime scene, a second photograph of the scene taken by the policeman after the incident specifically shows the victim's hand. A book entitled Lion's Pride discovered at the...
The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add.
Well, that's a mistake, because that means we get to run our mouth for 3 hours.
What?
You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. The spurious longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summonation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination.
Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we've said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Oh god, I can't sit still.
Yes, Pat. Marry me, Pat.
So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I am afraid we are in a terribly precarious position. I know, but just let me think. If I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse.
Think, Ryosuke.
Think. What do you do now? Raise an objection, obviously.
Objection!
I'm not done yet.
No, my learned friend. It's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast. There is no more room for debate.
Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say. Sosan, help me out.
If I may, Lord Von Zeeks. It seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isles must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh. I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential and her opinions invaluable.
Mr. Naruhodo.
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance. So, the court will hear you, madam.
Go ahead, Mrs. Soda. Please.
Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Can I just say that thing right there is adorable? You know, Ryosuke standing. Ah, man. This is why I don't comment on stuff like that, because then I get teary-eyed, I get choked up, and I can't do the voices anymore.
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination finished.
I see. And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Eh? Mr. Naruhodo, what do you think? It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for. That judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So we must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible. Yes, I understand, and thank you, Mrs. Sato. This is it. Sato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. I can't let it go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord. Oh, you sweating now. Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case and has hitherto been overlooked. Let's examine this. Book burnt to shit. Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride. I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all. So it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. And very recently, too. It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh. It doesn't even look like burnt pages. It looks like something I don't want to describe.
Oh, look at this! This book has been badly burnt! You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not the latter pages. What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently. A book recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? The fourth book's information has been updated. Discovering victim's hand, it's badly burnt. Alright, yeah, so this is good. Alright, present.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length, other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident. No significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know. Yes, I'm afraid, counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear?
Oh, yes, my lord. It's, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence. Which means you may very well be on the right track. Yes, I think you might be right.
So, counsel, precisely where is the vital clue in this case which this fourth book conceals?
Present.
Got it!
Got it! I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What do you... Goodness gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp.
So we have to ask ourselves, Why was the victim clutching what was clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Objection! Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend?
Oh,
Were I to concede the point, if it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance certainly, but worth a try.
alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer then, Counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage this sorry Thomas suffered? Shop that.
Its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
I beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hands as she fell to the floor.
Whoops.
After all, it's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand has yet to be answered. However, as to the questions of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has very credible answers.
Good gracious, how can you possibly? Very well, I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry. Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burned book? It's John Garrideb.
Take that!
The answer is that the book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb.
The landlords!
And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty in this courtroom today is none other than Mrs. Garrideb herself.
Oh my goodness, me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garrideb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garrideb's house?
I would never presume to know all of the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused's landlady, you say? You implicit this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, and at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house.
Good lord, what sort of incident, counsel?
A fire, my lord.
Afraid to say it happened in the blink of an eye, you know. Whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bloody thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. Bloody furniture started going up as well. Worst of it, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride. By Jove, the very same tale that's the subject of this debate. Oh dear me.
Objection!
This is risible. All you've told the courts is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire. in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burnt to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garrideb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garrideb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful. I can't even imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Royally? Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Just some scissors to your balls is all. Had all my favorite novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh, up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There was I, backed up against the window, under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen. The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him. Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book thrown through the window was thrown through the window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding areas was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there was no report of the Garrideb's window pane being broken. That's quite true. We also saw no signs of broken glass when we visited the Garrideb household. But is it not conceivable that the window was open at the time and not even remotely? Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter. Does the defense postulate this scenario in all seriousness, counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garrideb's wife? I believe it's a possibility, my lord. That's quite enough. Who? Oh, yep, shit figured. Well, I hope that everyone can see you for what you are now, you little foreign trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward. A mean coward. Really? Claiming that our little tips set the whole neighborhood alight, honestly. Implying that I'm merely posing as a maid for appearance sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you've done is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you that was never my intention.
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud, simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should. It's utterly unforgivable.
Hey, stop, don't slap the hard-working Scotsman.
Too right.
Wait, wrong voice. Here we go.
How long have we sat here now? Listen to this nippany spouting out his fancy foreign theories. But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with the mustache, and he ran away from the scene too.
I do declare you're right.
It's true. Yes, what did I tell you? Makes sense to me.
Sorry, what's that?
Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Von Zeeks?
Oh yeah, no, take your time.
In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then, one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage.
No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been...
Oh. If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time.
What? No, forgive the discourtesy this time?
Actually, yeah.
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defense culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
That's X. Thank you for your unambiguous response.
That's twice now. It's over. Mr. Naruto, don't give up. Mrs. Sato? Have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet. You're not suggesting. Of course, the defense has the right to another summonation examination at this point. Good God, even I would be pissed off at that. Even I am like, yeah, we're taking this too far. We're abusing that ancient law. They're gonna rewrite the law to say no more summonation examination just because of us. You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance. My lord, the defense has to execute its right to a summonation examination.
You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve.
I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. To be continued. I think that's the first time I've experienced a to be continued in the middle of a trial. But hey, this worked out perfectly. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna call it here. And in the next episode, we'll tackle that summonation examination. So, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay safe, have fun, and have a great day.